kind of hold everything up. I know some people have their lights cut off, and I hope that y'all did call 911 and make sure that they call you back. It's a reverse deal. If your lights power cut off, you call 911, they will call you back and give you a time and a date when your lights get back on. So with that, I know Mr. C.W. Williker said he's a senior, so I guess he'll need his license here today. So we'll go to. But first, let's get an honor God and blessing to be here. This meeting was called about a month ago on the schedule to meet South Central Police in the Redbird Outreach Center. And it was called to get to know who is in South Central, who is your NPO officer, who is running South Central, and this is what the meeting originally was all about. And what we're going to do, two things. We're going to kind of let Major Lewis to come up and talk about South Central. Make sure you know who is South Central, who all work in South Central. And there have been another incident that happened today, and I know most of y'all probably heard about it and kind of read about it on Facebook. It's number one, that we had a racial slur at South Central, and the community want to say, what was that all about? Yeah. You know, what happened? You might not know, you might do know, but we're not going to put up with it. It's something that in my community, since this South Central Police Station is 15 years old, when I first came here, we didn't have South Central. We had Southeast and Southwest.
Southwest, right.
And we put South Central here to make sure our crime will go down, the car life will go down, and we would have a better place to stay, but a safe place to stay. But also, as Chair of Economic Development, but also a place we could shop, comfortable. We got Redbird Mall coming in, you know, we got Redbird, the center, the outreach center at Redbird Mall. We got more NPO offices in the area. But the point is, one incident can corrupt the whole community. One incident can corrupt the whole community. Right. One incident can come to the point that the officer in blue, that you not respect the officer in blue. Because one of there did something stupid that never should have been done in the first place. And we're going to take all full responsibility for that, because there's no excuse. We got to take full responsibility for that. And we got to react, and we got to do what is necessary to do. But also, it's up to us to tell the community what is going on. Sometimes things happen at City Hall, sometimes things happen at DPD, and the community do not get an opportunity to say what happened. It's a short period, short day investigation. This has been hours old, it hasn't been days. So you are on the forefront to know that something did happen in your community, did happen at South Central. And these people here at Central work at South Central. And when they see you, and you see them, what response and what reaction do you have with those uniforms? What response, what reaction will you have with them when you call them? What do you think of that uniform, or think of the person in that uniform? And that's something that we got to make sure. It's a culture or whatever it is. We got to make sure we're going forward. We got too many good things going on in southern part of Dallas, especially South Central. We got Redbird Mall thriving. We got UT Southwestern Hospital coming. We got Portland Hospital. We got groundbreaking UNT Dallas. We got housing. We got all this stuff coming here. Trail, Rexer. We got all this stuff coming here. And we cannot let this stain our resident, stain our community, the people who still live here. So what we're going to do, I'm going to let Major Lewis come up and get started, his command center. Then we're going to kind of open up engagement, because this is engagement. So we want to hear from you. And Major Lewis can tell you what's going on. I prefer him to say what happened, what's going on. He was not at a press conference. Chief Garcia was at a press conference, and also myself and Mayor Pro Tem Carol Arnold was there. And on that coin, it reflects two districts. South Central is in District 8. Big T Bazaar is in District 4. And all those beats 720, 730, 740, 750, that's in the south. That in our area, the whole South Central area. So it do respect the whole entire neighborhood. So it do affect everyone who lives south and South Central. So with that, Major Lewis, I'm gonna let you take over. You can introduce your staff. We can go there, and they probably gonna want to know what happened. You can relate that, but also we're gonna open up a question. There's no stupid question. There's no silly question. We're here to engage. To engage with each other, because we're a family over in South Central. You know, I treat everybody family speak. We're a family. We treat everybody fair and square. But if you're wrong, you're wrong. If you're right, you're right.
You're right.
So the only thing will give us the correct information. We can comprehend the bad news, but tell us the truth so we know what's going on in our neighborhood. Thank you.
You're right. You're right.
All right.
All right, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Without breaking anything. There we go, I got it right there. Well, I'm going to be honest. My hope was to come in here and talk to you about the incredible strides that we've been making in reducing violent crime this year. In fact, we're on track, knock on wood, we are on track to have a third year of violent crime reduction. And we are also on track to have an overall reduction in crime. That's what I wanted to come talk to you about, and I hope that we're going to get an opportunity to talk about that too. But I'm not willing to let go of the opportunity to talk to you firsthand about this incident that affects our entire community. And I do say our entire community because as officers, we do consider ourselves a part of the community. So what I'd like to do is I'm going to start, some of you might have heard this, some of you might not have. I'm going to start by reading a portion of the Chief's message to the department. So this is what Chief Garcia was saying to the department when he became aware of this incident. And then I'm going to give you the South Central perspective of that. So real quickly, let me introduce myself. My name is Jim Lewis. I'm the Major and Commander over South Central. I've been with the Dallas Police Department for 20 years, and I have absolutely loved serving this city. I spent 4 years in West Dallas, 4 years working undercover narcotics. I did not look like this. I had an awesome bushy goatee and a ponytail halfway down my back. My wife hated it, but I'm not gonna lie, it was awesome. After narcotics, I went to Mountain. I spent 4 years riding horses and patrolling our city from horseback. And that was an amazing way to re-engage with the community. And I truly fell back in love with this city. We would ride into areas and folks were coming out of their homes just, oh, we love the police. We love having you in our neighborhoods. We love the horses. And I realized, again, just how amazing the people of Dallas are and the incredible work that we have the privilege to do. After that, I did promote to sergeant and came back to South Central, where I spent 4 years at South Central as a supervisor there and loved my time there. After that, promoting to lieutenant and then on to major, and had the opportunity to run intelligence for a couple of years before getting the opportunity to come back home to South Central as the commander over South Central. So that's me in a nutshell. I am married, been married for 17 years. I have 2 kids, James and Ella, and they're awesome. I have great kids. So we do homeschool, which their mom gets driven a little nuts sometimes with that. But all right, this is the message that Chief Garcia wrote to our department. So this is him speaking from his heart to us. And this came out this morning. Last night, a member of the Dallas Police Department command staff was notified of a police officer developing a challenge coin for sale. The coin, which was posted on social media to canvass our membership for interest, depicted inappropriate images that were insensitive and racially offensive to department members. The coin, nor the use of the Dallas Police Department logo and likeness were not approved by the department. The officer's chain of command immediately told the officer to stop canvassing for interest and production of the coin. This conduct is being dealt with swiftly and sharply, as this is not the standard for our department moving forward. The officer was placed on administrative leave, and an internal affairs administrative investigation has been opened. I know that this coin and what it depicts does not represent the beliefs or ideals of the men and women of the Dallas Police Department as a whole. We will not tolerate this type of conduct. I apologize to any of our employees who were hurt or offended by these postings and the coin. Despite this negative situation, I acknowledge the quick actions taken by command staff and department union leadership for understanding the sensitivity of the issue and moving to stop the process from moving forward and delete any social media postings. The rest of this letter deals specifically with the violations that were committed, and it's technical information from our general orders, just reminding officers of what you are and are not allowed to do. So that is what the chief of police was communicating to our team, because for those of you that don't know, this was first made aware to us because it actually hurt some of our own folks. And nothing hurts us as leaders more than when we find out that some of the conduct of one of our members actually damaged our organization. It's like damaging your own body. It's like inflicting pain on yourself. And that's exactly what we do. But what we also acknowledge is the pain that that inflicts on this community. This coin does not represent South Central.
Amen.
You will see on it 710, 720, 730, 740, 750s. Those are the various sectors of South Central. That's how we divide up the area and assign responsibility to patrol. But it encompasses the entirety of South Central. And as Councilman Atkins said, it attempts to represent this area as being depicted by those specific images. And it's sickening and it's disgusting, and I'm not allowed to use the words that it actually makes me feel, at least with media present. Maybe if we were standing here by ourselves, I might let y'all know the real words I'd use on that. But as a South Central family, I want you to know this: the officer that created this has never worked this area, does not work South Central. This area was created, this was created from outside. This officer does not know you all. He does not know this community, and he does not know South Central. Let me apologize as the commander over the officers that work this area, that I recognize the damage that this has done, and I can promise you this: we will continue doing everything that we can as a department to heal this wound and past wounds, and make sure that you, when you see us, when you see public servants, people that are there to serve you. And a servant never tries to hurt the individuals that they work for. We recognize that.
That's right.
And we failed in this instance. And so that does hurt me personally, because I take great pride in the work that we do and in my officers. I also want you to know that the officers of South Central, every couple of years, they have the opportunity to bid for what station they want to work based on their seniority. And the officers of South Central consistently re-bid to come back to South Central because they love this community. They have seniority or opportunities to go and work other parts of the city. Some officers will choose to make that decision because perhaps they live closer to another station, understandable. But we have officers that travel from all over the North Texas region to come to South Central because this is their family. This is their home, this is their community, and this is where they want to work. So I suspect that as we move forward, some of the questions that you have will pertain specifically to this, and that's fine. As you can imagine now, it is an open investigation, and so there'll be very limited specific facts that I can give you regarding that. But I wanted you to know where my heart was on that. I wanted you to know where the department's heart was on that. And I wanted you to know exactly what was being communicated by the chief of police to our officers, that this is intolerable behavior, that it will never be acceptable, that it is dealt with swiftly and severely. And we're going to do everything that we can to make sure that our ranks understand that this will never be acceptable, both internally or to our community. So, that being said,
We introduce your staff over.
what's that?
Your staff.
Yes. So actually, let me do this. I'm going to have Sergeant Tyler come up, and I want to introduce Sergeant Tyler. Sergeant Tyler is my sergeant over the Neighborhood Police Officer Unit at South Central, and my guess is most of you probably know him. Sergeant Tyler is amazing. He is my go-to guy. Unfortunately for him, that means that I might call him at any hour of the night. Because when I've got a sensitive issue that needs to be taken care of, or an individual that I need direct, specific communication with right now, he has a team that does an amazing job at that, and he helps coordinate those activities. The Neighborhood Police Officer Unit was held to a standard that required them to ensure that they had planned a certain number of community events on a weekly basis. Sergeant Tyler's unit hits that mark ×6, which keeps me very busy. Absolutely. And we are incredibly thankful for the work that he and his team put forth in that. So I'm going to let Sergeant Tyler take the mic. I'm going to let him introduce his team and to talk a little bit about what the Neighborhood Police Officer Unit does, in case you don't already know, what the ROC Unit does, and I will tell you, this is a group of officers that we are very proud of. Sergeant Tyler.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
I'm Maven Tyler. I've been on the department for 18 and a half years. I am from Dallas, born and raised in southern Dallas. Went to Lincoln High School.
Where is that?
All right, DW.
But this is home for me. This is my community. You know, so I take great pleasure in working in this community. And we have a great, some great officers. I'm going to introduce to you. ROC officers, which stands for Redbird Outreach Center. We have Officer Cross.
Don't do that to him.
Oh, he deserves it.
Great officer, very passionate about the community, and very knowledgeable about what's going on in the community as well. We also have Officer Yorka.
How y'all doing?
All right, yay.
Gideon Yorka, great officer. Officer Fraction.
Oh, yay.
Also in the back, Officer Townsend.
Yay.
And one of my NPO officers that's here to support us this evening, Officer Atkins. We're going to let Officer Cross come up and share a little bit about what this meeting is about and some of the things that we're doing in Redbird Outreach Center.
Hey, I feel like I just got the Easter speech. And it's okay, baby. But most know me. I'm Corporal Cross.
Yes,
I'm
yes.
from here. I grew up here. You know everything I do, I'm vested, period.
Yes, yes.
Any officer around me, they know. There's no mishappiness, there's no mistreating people.
That's right.
That's just the way I do things, because
That's
guess
right.
what? There is no me without you, period.
All
Right on.
This was supposed to be a meet and greet for the ROC unit. I don't know, a lot of people don't know what ROC stands for. It's Redbird Outreach Center
Redbird
Unit.
Outreach.
And we're focusing on the tag areas of Chaucer area, Wheatland Corridor, all the way down to our border would be Redbird Lane. I'm always there around Lisa's and Redbird Mall. We also have a Southwest ROC officer with us. That would be Ms. Townsend in the back. We were really supposed to introduce ourselves, let you know we are a community engagement unit. I hate that there was an incident. It brings a lot of people in, but guess what? We're here and we're not going anywhere. We are
Right
here
on.
for you. You know, when I wake up and they talk about money and all that stuff, you know in the back, everybody knows my job is to serve you, period.
All right.
That's why I wake up. I don't worry about how much they pay me. This is what drives me. We have a few things that we're trying to install. And if anybody can tell me any ideas they have for this community, what we can help to enrich it, I listen to these things. I want to implement these things. It just takes time. It's not plug and play. You have to learn your demographic, who you're dealing with. If it's certain children, where are they from? What are their backgrounds? You have to learn about everybody.
That's right, that's right.
It's not microwavable, but period. We got one thing coming up on Tuesday. If you want to come join us at the McDonald's, like Redbird and 67, we're going to have coffee with ROC. The whole unit will be there. We just have free coffee. We're going to have it set up, just meet and greet there about who we are. We're going to have some things we're talking about, our future plans. We also have a symposium we're doing. It's going to be on the 24th of September. I'm just letting you know ahead of time. It's going to be at South Central, and it's called the South Central Youth Symposium, and it's put on by South Central ROC. We're going to have the drone unit there. I talked to them today. We're going to do mock traffic stops, because education is one thing we need. We have to at least let people know how to survive this world, period. A lot of people say, oh, I know the law. A lot of times they don't. And it's my job to let them know and to educate them on what's going on out there. So I just want to let you know I'm Corporal Cross. We're implementing all kinds of things in your area, but we're focused as the ROC unit like I said, the Redbird area where they're building everything, developing, the Chaucer area, where the apartments and everything are, we're there. If you have anything, we're trying to work with the kids, with outreach. We're trying to install, I'm actually going into doing the women's self-defense thing. We're talking about that. Yeah, these old bow legs used to do karate, if anybody knew. But I really am starting to, we have things coming up. And also on the Redbird side, which is southwest side, please get with some of you people, you know people on that side. Miss P, thank you for coming, ma'am. Heavy hitters in the community. These are the people, just from Miss P to the people she touches. If she don't have her faculty, she's that hard of a hitter, I'm nothing. That's my mentor. You guys are my mentor as far as what to do in this community. Not another officer. I want people that's out there in the streets that know that are doing the same things that I did before I became an officer in Hampton Terrace Apartments. Everybody know where Hampton Terrace is? That's where I grew up. So you know I don't just tell you things, you know I believe in what I say because I'm here for you. All that other stuff and all that other talk doesn't matter. What Calvin does and what these other officers around me gonna do, we're gonna do the right thing. All the other stuff will handle itself. All we asking for is your support for the Rock. I want you to know who the Rock is. We know who NPOs are, but you're going to start knowing who South Central Rock is. Redbird Outreach Center Unit. That's what we are. And you'll see more of us, okay?
All
Thank
right.
you guys.
Yeah.
I want to mention one thing before we move on. I often hear we need more NPOs, we need more NPOs, we need more NPOs. I will tell you how you get more NPOs is through attendance at events like this, because when we are able to show command that these are generating community engagement and that it is bringing in a broader, more diverse, more committed to the community group of folks, it is easier for us to say this is why we've got to have more of these guys, because there aren't a lot of Calvins, there aren't a lot of Alfies, there aren't a lot of these guys around the city, but we can bring them in when we have the community engagement that you guys have been so passionate about. So let me please encourage you, bring your neighbors, bring friends, bring other folks in this community, bring folks that might not otherwise show up, but encourage them to come with you so that this can become an even larger part of the engagement that we do with our communities. Just wanted to mention that.
Okay. Everybody know Rebecca, right? Said everyone know the one, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. This is a family, right?
Right on.
Okay. In a family, we tell everything, right? No, we try to. So since we're a family, we're going to be open. We're going to be honest. And so this is your opportunity. You know, he kind of tell you what happened, but we got to heal. We got to find a way, hey, there's a mistake been happening, but how do we go forward? You know, Chief Garcia, TC, John Fortune, they got to take care of it. That's administration. On the policy maker. My job is make sure you're happy and make sure you're safe.
That's right.
So I'm going to open up to you and let these officers, now administration, like I said, there is an investigation. Something we cannot talk about, something we can. And Ms. Risto, we know you got a PhD in volunteering with police. I know that. So everybody know you got your PhD. You've been in every class. We understand that. I ain't going to answer none of your questions. I'm going to let the officer answer your questions because I don't get nothing wrong because you've been in all those classes. So, on a good note, thank you, Ms. Community, for coming, Ms. Gibson. You know, and my staff, if I would get Maria Salazar, Darryl, let everybody in, and Alexander here, they won't try to put everything together. But this is a sad day for South Central. 15 years, it's a sad day. It happened, we got to deal with it, and we're going to deal with it. So with that, I'm going to let Major Lewis come up here. I'm kind of move it back, because if you can't answer something, Major Lewis, I will come back up, whatever. But I think perspective, you wear that uniform, and they want to hear from you, because you at South Central, you control South Central.
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. Okay, first question, Ms. Stewart.
First of all, I would like everyone to know that I am the Citizen Police Alumni Association of North Texas, Dallas representative. We go from city to city, and we go all the way from Waco, all the way to Sherman, and Denton took classes for each city. We have over 25 cities that's part of the CPAANT. And we get educated each month on different things concerning police. When something like this occurs, that means either this young man or woman, whoever it was, is doing some type of initiation for something, because anytime you do something of this magnitude, somebody else is behind that person pushing them. Because you're just not gonna up and do this to lose your job if you're not part of some type of group that wants to try to get something started in the southern sector. And they just want their 15 minutes of airtime. But we know that this person is not behind it by themselves, based upon the knowledge and the education that I have received through the years. I've been a part of that group since 2003. So we have been educated a lot. And this is not a one-person thing. It's other people a part of this as well, and we need to get to the bottom of this.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, my question is, was this officer white?
We're not revealing details of the officer right now. I've got to leave that up to the department to do that.
Okay, all right. What was do you know his purpose for posting this information?
The flyer stated that it was to gain interest for a coin that he was looking at having created in order to sell.
Okay, how will you all deal with him?
He's been put on administrative leave, which means he is no longer in a working capacity. Okay, he is still employed by the department, but not working the streets or working at work. Internal affairs and, if necessary, public integrity will conduct an investigation, and then, based on the outcome of that investigation, his chain of command and the chief of police, if it reaches that point, then would weigh what the severity of his discipline would be. Yes, ma'am.
Well, we know that systematically this puts a black eye back on the police department, especially in the southern sector. The southern sector already has the thought and the idea that the police is not for our community, which puts you back. And I know personally how Sergeant Tyler has worked diligently in order to provide services for this community. What, as the major, what are you willing to step up and do to assist him in making sure that this community knows that this one particular police officer does not represent the total of your district?
So that's an excellent question, and the way I see most effectively making sure the community knows that we understand that this is unacceptable is by engaging with the community. And so what I want to be able to do now, Sergeant Tyler I'm not in his chain of command. The neighborhood police officers unit reports up through headquarters. However, he and I work hand in hand. And part of my job as the major of South Central is to make sure he has the resources that he needs in order to support events like this. So being present at those events, and we've had quite a few of them lately. In fact, I think this is 3 in the last 5 days, that were unrelated to any incident like this happening. It's just a part of us trying to engage with the community. Being present, and that's going to be the biggest thing, is making sure that our officers and our commanders are present and communicating with our community. Yes, ma'am.
First of all, I want to commend you all for actually coming forth right as soon as you all found out about it. So I really want to commend you all for that and not wait 3 or 4 days for it to come through. So that's one thing that gives us confidence that you all are on top of this. So that's the second thing I want to say, thank you for coming out to the community. So I'm here on behalf of Enchanted Villa homeowners. That's what we do at Straight in District 8. So we're here just to say we still support and love DPD, and we love our MPO officers. We wish you'd bring them back because they were very active in our community. And they stayed abreast of everything that was going. They would have probably been on top of this before he even got out there. That's how good they were.
They are that
But
good.
I just want you to know that we love you, we support you, and regardless of what the motive was behind this, we're not gonna allow this one bad apple. And it may be two, but what you're not gonna do is cause division between us. We're gonna settle this and move forward, because all they want, and somebody said it earlier, is to get some momentum out of this. You're not gonna do that. In the name of Jesus, you're not gonna do that. Because why? We're better together.
Thank you, ma'am. My heart needed that. Sir.
Well, first of all, I want to say this, if the police left Oak Cliff or any part of this Dallas, I want to sit on the front end of the car, because I don't want to be in the community without it. So this is in no way an indictment on the police officers or the police department. But you must admit, and while I'm appreciative, and I'm certain that we're all appreciative of the fact of the transparency that you have that bring it forth, because this is not something that I knew about. I'm a newspaper publisher. I had the councilman call me and rush me down here. So I didn't know if it was a community meeting or a press conference with regards to, and it's both. So I appreciate the information, but you got to understand that when you go and find that you have a bit of cancer, he was no way emboldened to do this sitting on the toilet. He came up with this idea, and somebody else is with him. I'm grateful for an investigation and for you to jump on top of it this quick. But this in no way indicts these officers, and it does not indict white officers. It's just the individuals with him, and I'm so grateful for that. And so,
I would, before you go on,
Yes.
I would like to say, the Dallas Police Department has some of the best detectives in the entire nation. You ever watch First 48, you know it. They are incredible. There are few things that we are more passionate about than pursuing officers who commit wrongdoing, because we know the damage that it does. It goes beyond a singular incident. It creates incidents like this where we have victims that number in the thousands, and we recognize that. So I appreciate you saying that, and don't know if just one officer is involved. I will not speculate. However, I know that there will be a team that will be working on that.
Sergeant Tyler, have you been to my office before on a burglary? On Lancaster?
Lancaster and what?
Lancaster and the East.
Are you saying Sergeant Tyler burglarized your office?
No, sir.
Oh, okay.
So you came up there to follow up. Something disenchanted with some of the officers. That was something else. He took good care of us.
Good.
Very much. So there's good community relations.
Thank you, sir. All right.
Any other question?
Go ahead.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi. I was very shocked to hear the news account of what happened.
Yes, ma'am.
But I certainly want to stand, with my community, that we need the police in our community, and we don't want to get sidetracked by this decoy. It was a horrible incident, and we trust that you all will take appropriate action. But I really believe going forward, looking at what we can do collectively to stay engaged. This is a major sector of Dallas that is in the developmental stage, growth phase, and we've got a lot of work to do. I am a firm believer that one department cannot do it by itself, okay? We're seeing signs of graffiti all over the place. Who do we need to contact when that happens? We can call 311.
And that is the right, because 311 and 911 allow us an extremely important tool. We collect more data than baseball commentators. We can tell you every call, what time the operator picked it up, how long they were on the call, everything about it. We track all of that.
Okay.
I sometimes hear such and such happened and no officer came out. I can promise you, when you want to talk about getting held to the fire, about your officers showing up, yeah. If a call comes out, we're not allowed to let that call go. There is no letting that call go. So by calling 311 or 911, you're documenting the instance, you're documenting the number of instances because we're looking at density, and then they can also direct to whom that is best dealt with, whether it's the gang unit, whether it's code, whether it's some of my officers, but that is the correct route.
Okay. So this group is already involved with that.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Corridor, Redbird Corridor, Camp Wisdom, 67 area. That Tulsa area is a hot mess.
Yes.
okay? And I am all for people having housing, but whatever the heck is going on over there, thank you all for being on top of it. And let us know what we could do to help get the momentum going. We have a crime watch group, Redbird Meadows Crime Watch group, that is in the process of being resurrected. I'm looking at one of my. I've been riding your back about that. Okay. But anyway, please let us know.
We said about apartment, I believe that Alexander, we have supposed with all the apartments owners in District 8. And what we're trying to do is bring all the apartment owners and agents together and the managers together.
Yeah.
And to work with them, with Dallas House Authority, and say, what is the problem? Majority of the problem with apartments is that we have more crimes in apartment than anywhere. But the point is, it's like a gated community. Once we walk and go inside the apartment, we don't know what's in there. Private security, we just don't know. We have talked to Troy Bashir with Dallas Housing Authority.
Okay.
We said, Dallas Housing, hire DPD. If DPD is inside those apartments, we know we got a communication, so we're working that out. Because that is our highest crime going into an apartment, and the violent crime is an apartment. Charleston Village, right down the street from it, we've been working on it for the last 20 years.
Yes.
It's still the same old problem, same over and over and over.
Right.
Until we get inside of the apartment complex, and we get inside the owner and the agent, instead of the owner, absentee owner sitting in California waiting on the 1st and 15 when they make their deposit. So we're saying right now, okay, Dallas Housing Authority, Troy, don't write that check. Hold the money. If you hold the money, what's gonna happen? They're gonna come and try to correct the problem.
Money talks.
Because they need to do it. That's problem solved. So therefore, we are trying to do everything. But one thing we cannot do, I tell everybody, the NPO office, we need more. They try to cut them before. We need more. Because those are your eyes and ears. Because one thing you know about NPO, it's easy that they got a cell phone. You can call them directly.
Yep.
They can answer the phone. You can address them. But if you got a private security guard that you can talk to, but if you can talk to them, if you cannot talk to them, let me know. We say we need to move someone else because everybody's human. And I'm trying to say, okay, some is good, some is bad. But the point is, we're going to make sure that in District 8, in my district, we're going to have an NPO officer, we're going to have a relationship, and everybody on hands-on. Relationship means everything. Communication. And I always said, if an officer is sitting down there, why can't you walk up and talk to them, and why can't they walk up and talk to you?
Right on.
And that's the problem sometimes we have, because we would not engage with the community. We are scared to walk and talk to the police officer, or they scared to come to us. So we got to change that culture. We got to talk to each other. So I'm going to get on my soapbox, so I'll let Lewis come, but I had to make sure the apartment, we are taking care of that, because that's the worst thing, that's the highest crime going on, this apartment complex.
But what we have allowed, and I don't know how that happened, all of the darn second chance housing, okay, are in, a lot of them, the majority of them are in our district.
But
And people need housing, but they need to be maintained.
But this key is, number one, when we start looking at affordable, low-income housing, whatever, and trying solution, at Redbird, they hire over 1,000 employees. Guess what? The majority of people qualified, guess where we're at? In an apartment. And they was there in an apartment, they could train, but no one reached out to them. So we got to reach out to our second chance. We got to reach out to everybody. So therefore, I'll say we are human beings. We understand re-entry, second chance. We got to help those out because we don't. It's a revolving door. But what we're trying to do is give them a job, give them off the street, try to change them. As a matter of fact, over there on Independent Drive, which is a 100-room hotel we just bought. We're trying to get the homeless out, but we're trying to have wraparound service. So when that person go in there, we're going to track that person, make sure he's on alcohol, drug, whatever. We're going to give them all the wraparound service they need to get back in society. If we don't do that, they're going to be on the street, they're going to rob, they're going to do whatever. So it's all in the community, but we need your engagement. We need you to tell us what you see, what we can do. That's what we're here today. We need you to tell us because we work for you.
We have a question back here.
Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Actually, my question is actually to Councilman Atkins.
Oh.
First of all, I want to say, if you haven't been to the hospital, the new Southwest hospital, just go visit. Yeah, the new park, it's nice. It just really is. Councilman Atkins, I know that you know because you live in the community. And I'm talking to the officers. Have you noticed Hampton between 20 and Camp Wisdom? We have more homeless people in that section. And there's one lady and it's trashed out right there by the cemetery, because that's what she is. What are we doing? I know we moved her from down there on Pope by the car wash. Well, it seems like they're coming up on Hampton, and from every corner, all the way from 20, all the way down to Camp Wisdom, we have a lot of homeless that's taking up residence. And especially, and it's this one lady, she's there, and you can just tell where the trash is. It's just trash everywhere right there.
Okay.
Right across from they putting up, where they put those new homes up.
This is key with homeless, okay? In the state of Texas, they have rights. And they know they have rights. They know what they can do and what they cannot do. You know, we can say, do you want a place to stay? You want to take you here? They can say yes, us say no. And some ones that go round and round, you know, hey, I don't want to go here because the rules I got to follow. But we, as a community, we as a African-American community, and I said most of us on the street, and I want to say this because when I grew up, we didn't have this.
That's right.
We had hobos and tramp. Hobos and tramp. What they call hobos and tramp.
That's right.
And we saw our homeless right there. My mom would take that person off the street and put it in our house, and we slept on the floor and fed them before we got fed. But we got to learn how to take care of our own. Hold on, we got to take care of our own. And you look at how many homeless out there, and people look like me. Look at the numbers, male, female, whatever. But we got to find a way how to help them. You know, with a system we got to do, put them in wraparound service to reach out, non-profit to get there. Because we don't help them, who else going to help them? We got to help our own. And that's why we're doing the city down right now. That's why we're buying this hotel. We're buying a hotel down there because this is a place we can put them in there, give them all the service they need, make sure they qualify, get back in society, and get them back off the street. But how can we help them if we don't figure out what to do? Someone is going to skip over there and skip over there, but guess what? The people in the suburb, guess what they do? Give them a one-way ticket to our community.
What I don't understand is, how can we get back to what used to be, where you used to have $75, take them down to Turl, and then they keep them in there instead of giving them medication? How can we get back to that? Because back then, they took them to Turl, and they kept them in Turl. They didn't give them medication, put them back
They
out
gone,
in the
those
street.
days are gone.
And then that's how they end up still being homeless.
We're in the 21st century now. They got rights. You know, and they read better than we read, you know. I'm just be honest. I mean, they are very intelligent. I mean, the lady right down, what you talking about, she got a little basket of stuff, and she moved her, and she on the city sidewalk. She said, okay, I'm gonna move over here. So you can't tell me this on private property. Then you gotta put no trespassing. Then they gotta move her off of there, and she moved right back over there. It's a circle go round and round because the rule is you gotta keep moving. Then too, if you take their stuff, then they say you don't touch my private property.
Yeah.
And so you gotta have that, but we've got to find a way how to engage. I think we can do that with our neighborhood police office, that's number one. With our homeless solution, that number two, with right care, get those. And right now, at my office, we got right care, homeless solution, we got everybody working together. Instead of have one person go, we have a social work, everybody go out there and say, how can we get that person off that street? You know, it's kind of like this. Sometimes like termites, you just can't get rid of them, you just kick them down the road. But what happened to the city of Dallas? Just like Parkham Hospital. Everybody shipped all their people to Dallas because we're going to take care of it. You go to suburb, they don't have it. Is that correct?
That's right.
Because they ship them to Dallas. And so we got to find a way that, hey, how do we take care of them because they feel like we should take care of them. Yes, ma'am, in the back.
That's me?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Oh, go ahead. Y'all can figure it out.
She can go.
All right.
Well, my question was, what exactly does rock do?
Rock?
Red,
It's a slang, a logo. Rock, tell what rock is, the definition of rock.
Redbird
It's Redbird, I'll let them
I
tell.
know what the definition is.
But don't tell what they
exactly-
do, don't tell what they do. You know, they all call their little fraternity, you know, have their own little brand, their own little pack. So they try to, I said, we are the best. That's what they're trying to say.
So do you have an idea what the NPOs do?
Yeah, I know what
It's
it is.
the same thing.
Okay, but that's where
It's
the
just
south-
for that particular area.
Okay, got it.
Yep.
You got that, that's it, okay. Another person, yes ma'am.
First, I want to say about asking questions about homeless people going from place to place. They can decide on what they will and what they will not do. You know, back in the day, a family member could carry somebody and have them carried to places where they would be taken care of. But now they can tell you, no, they are not going to do it. So that's a lot of people that we have on the streets because they have a privilege. And we can't take that privilege away from them. It's a mess, but that's the way it is. But that was my response to what the person had asked, right? But I had a question. The police department, I do realize that we have a shortage. I understand that. One night I called about 8 o'clock in the evening. It was bright. And I made a question. I asked a question. I asked if the officer could come out and see people park illegally in our night area. Now, I do understand that when you're trying to drive through your neighborhood, if someone has it blocked, you cannot go through, okay? So I called and I asked for to receive a call when the officer came out. Well, the officer didn't come out between 8 and late at night. The officer called me at 1 o'clock Sunday afternoon. And I didn't understand why was he calling me that late in the day. And I said, so what did you find? He said, well, I've not gone there yet. I said, 8 o'clock at night, and this is 1 o'clock in the daytime? And he said that we have a lot of officers, and we've not made it to it yet. And I thought, suppose somebody was being harmed,
Okay.
what would happen?
So that's an excellent question, and that goes directly to how we prioritize calls. So if you call and say, someone is trying to hurt me right now, that is considered a priority 1 call. If you call and say there are people parked illegally, that is a priority 4 call. We will not start taking 4s until we've taken care of the 1s, the 2s, the 3s, and the 4s. And it is based on preservation of life and making sure people stay safe. That is why you often wind up in a situation where with those types of calls, there is a police response, but it may be a very late police response. So for parking violations, a much more effective way to handle that is filing a complaint through 311 or 911 and saying, I need to report parking violations. And those 311 calls are actually handled by a specific unit that's all they do, is 311 calls. And so, and they can write tickets, absolutely.
They did write those tickets.
Well, but, so the officer probably came out and did not see any, because the officer can. And also too, I will
Okay,
tell you.
let me put that on parking, you gotta make sure, the rule. The street is a public street. Everybody know that.
That was blocked.
You have a car on the street.
And
And it could be blocked, the officers get there, and he can say, you gotta move that car.
Correct.
It's
No
a-
officer came.
Well, we move a car. Now, if a car is parked there, it is not parked there, they can put a tag on there, and that car sit there, if you're not moving in 24 hours, they can do something. And your code officer, we get that all the time, because I got people all the time call me and say, hey, here's a car parked on the street, ain't got no sticker, ain't got nothing, but it's on a public street. The code officer and the NPO officer, y'all come out and say, hey, and that neighbor is smart enough to say, you know what? I just moved my car right down a little bit further. It's all right to start all back over again. So we gotta find a way how we do that. That's a change of the policy as well, because it's a public street.
I understand that, I understand that. But if the street is blocked because they were having a party and it was there, and they were all parked there blocking, like
But
you're dodging.
if they blocking the street, the officer can tell them to move.
The officer didn't come, he never come.
You said they come, but that's
They
what
were
he
blocked.
said. Right, you called, it was not a light just situation when they got there. Or police, if officer did get there, they would have moved their car, called a tow truck to move that car. But officer never responded, never got
Never
there.
done.
Now, I will tell you, if some of our streets are narrow, and if you park a car on one side of the street and it's within 18 inches of the curb and facing the correct way, and you park a car on the other side of the street and it's 18 inches or less away from the curb and it's parked the right way, and it's really hard to get through, there's nothing we can do about that. Those cars are both legally parked. A blocked street would be the car that jams up in the middle of them, and now you couldn't get a bicycle through. I mean, they have truly stopped the street. But if you're legally parked on this side and you're legally parked on this side, there isn't anything we could do about those streets.
Okay, if the person was parked in the middle of the street, this is what, the
Correct.
person had blocked.
Right, and
They
then,
had blocked.
and then based on the priority of calls, when officers got out there, if they found that car blocking the street and they could not locate an owner, they'd tow it right there on the spot.
1 o'clock in the afternoon, it was
Right.
all over.
I understand.
But that's part of my question.
Okay.
What's happening, what's going on to get us more officers?
Okay.
We have officers who work hard.
Yes.
You have a hard group of workers. But when you hear that they are overworked and you don't have, and our area does not have the number that we need to take care of our community, what happens?
So that is a great question. Also, we are trying to hire more officers, and not only are we trying to hire more officers, we're trying to retain more officers. We're doing that through extending benefits to officers to make them want to work longer into their career. We're actually very blessed to live in a city where the city has expressed overwhelmingly that they support and want police in the community. And so we have actually been very successful pulling police from neighborhoods in other parts of the country that have said, we don't want the police here, we'll take them. Come on. You can work for us right now, we'll pay you $73,000 to start. Come work for us. And so we are aggressively recruiting. We're traveling all over the country, sending recruiters out in order to find officers. I'm talking about in all four corners in order to try to find officers. And we also aggressively recruit in Dallas because I'll be honest, we want Dallas officers. We want folks that are in this community, that grew up in this community, that feel connected to this community. So the City Council and this new budget has allotted significant funds for us to hire additional officers, to exceed well beyond attrition, and also to attempt to retain officers and have them work longer through their career. Because we agree with you. Yes, ma'am.
And in line with that, it's one thing to recruit them, to get them, but it seems that we don't ever get enough to support our district. What can we do to get enough to support this area instead of them going in other areas that are saturated with services?
So Dallas police officers don't have the option of just deciding I want to go work Northeast or I want to go work North Central. There are a certain number of slots allocated for each one of those divisions, and those allocations are truly based on crime data. They are based on okay, who's got the highest homicide rate? Who's got the highest ag assault rate? Who's got the highest robbery rate? We look at all the property crimes. We also look at the size of the area, because if I'm in a large area, then it takes officers longer to get from one part of town to another part of town. Therefore, I need to have more officers to cover that gap. All of those things are taken into account, and then it is distributed throughout the city. So as the entire department grows, the number of officers in each district grows.
But this key to that, remember, it's driven on data driven.
Yes.
We stopped calling 911.
Right.
When y'all stop calling 911, is everything all right? They go somewhere else. And they start calling 911, they get more offers. It's by data driven. So don't tell your friends somebody broke in my car, you should be calling 911 to get that data, because now you need more police officers, so therefore you don't call, well, there's no crime there. So why should we come? It's data driven. You know, you call 911 for everything, so that's how you get there.
See something, say something.
People who are realtors look at 911 data, and when people come to different cities, then that makes them send people to other areas of the city because so many 911 calls is being made. So that's why they go Plano, Carlton, places like that. That's what we were told.
But crime data is so available now that it is so easy to find for any area what the crime numbers are, and that's a much more workable number than 911 calls, because 911 calls can also indicate a very active community, a community that engages with law enforcement and engages, and so I suspect it's more based on actual crime numbers than it is 911 calls. I don't know that. Like I said, I played a realtor on TV once, but other than that, I actually know. But that's probably right. Yes, sir.
I just want to say, like in the apartments over there where we stay, like I stay right across the street in the house over there. The apartment complex is not bad as what it used to be. You know what I'm saying? And we used to have a whole lot of activity over there. It's slimmed down a lot. So it's more young kids now. But what I found out is when we do a little stuff over in the neighborhoods another time, there's a lot of kids who just raising kids, right? So like I hear y'all organization stuff, but if you guys just like go to those apartments over there and get with the management, they don't have community people. They don't, like the community centers, they don't have nothing going on. So like with the Meadows, Meadow Brick organization over there, if we try to just do like once a month and just go over there and just go with these brothers off across, he always come out, I always see him. Then you'll see more kids and more people get more interaction. But our own people just get our own people. You know what I'm saying? So it's really like your grandkids when they saw our else grandkids. You know what I'm saying? So if we just take the initiative to say, okay, y'all, we're gonna walk over here on this Saturday once a month and get out, yada, yada, yada. Might get some snacks, something. You'll see more people get involved because really people, they scared of police, then they scared of y'all. But they saying, nah, these people tripping. I mean, maybe I live around the corner with Atkins, but this is the type of stuff we deal with every day. And but I deal with the brothers and sisters every day too. But it's more like, how can we get a job? How can we get more involved? But what I notice is that you'll get more respect than the police officer doing your team because they're like, oh, that's like my aunt, that's like my grandma. They hear you. Then you guys, you ain't coming like rah rah rah. They ain't gonna look like you, they gonna look like me, but you'll get a lot of kids and people involved. And this is what I know because we do it sometimes.
And I think that's a point
well
taken, is how do we, as a community,
What you just said, a point, when y'all just said number one, when I grew up in apartments, they had clubhouse. They don't do that no more. There's nothing for the kids to do inside apartment. With Chaucer that right there, I live on Meadow, all those kids come to Meadow Point to play, because there's nothing to play, there's nothing to do. So when you say you got nothing to do in an apartment complex, you got chaos, and you got to run out. So therefore, that's why I said we meet with, supposed to meet with all these owners of apartments. It said you got to engage, go over there and get a bus, go to the Y, bring them out, engage, let them engage with the community. If they don't engage, you're going to lose a kid, because what else are they going to do?
And we have to be willing as the community to get engaged.
Right.
My issue or concern with the apartments, not the residents necessarily, but the people who own it, okay?
That's-
The kind of what you had talked about early on, the kind, even maintaining the property so that people can reside in a place and they have dignity. You know, take care of it. And I don't even want to get into all of that. What I do want to bring up real quick, thanks for that point, and when we get resurrected again, I'm saying resurrected, we got to put some light on the Crime Watch group. In terms, I have read in the past, and it was somewhere in the North Texas area, where police officers, residents in the community, maybe, you know, the elected official or officials, would go door to door and introduce themselves. Good morning, my name is, I am your NPO, and, you know, we come along. You know, are there any thoughts about doing something?
They did that already when South Central first started. They went door to door.
Yeah, but we got that, you know, neighborhood is in transition,
Right.
people forget, you know.
Yeah,
you know,
but this is key is when you had change command and everybody said, I want to do this, whatever, you know, sometimes you go back what worked. What we used to do, I think 70-30-10, you know, when Levi Williams started.
That's right.
What we used to do, we would take a whole block, 3,000 houses. We get all the police, the rookies, everybody, we knock on every door. And we find out who the bad guy, who the good guy, and we turn around and hit our intel to do that. But we stopped doing it. Sometimes you gotta keep doing the same thing over and over. In relationship, and everybody did it. When we got the intel, we knew who was the bad guy because we said we got 100 people in a room like this right here. We said we know those 10 people are bad ones over there, and we know those are bad ones. So doing one police, you need to take care of them because those are bad ones. They were doing all the crime, and they pointing the fingers already because they in the room and said we don't want you here.
Sergeant Tyler's team regularly does walkthroughs in communities also just to engage with folks. So that's something that their team also works really hard to do is they're on foot a lot. These cats get their steps in and they go out just to do that. And something else, sir, that you mentioned engaging with the children, one of the most successful events that they recently had was they had a water balloon fight with the kids. And they'd had some other functions at this particular complex and really had a hard time getting folks to engage. They had a water balloon fight, and I mean, they had kids running everywhere, throwing water balloons at police and getting water balloons thrown at them, and they had a big time. And it was a very, very positive event. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I have a question in regards to, I know we talk a lot about the young people. I have 4 boys, right?
Okay.
Well, they're not boys anymore, they're older now, but my oldest is 30, then I have a 28-year-old, 27, and 25, right? And my oldest and my youngest are both married, and they have kids now. So Saturday, there was an event, the mayor had an event at UNT Dallas,
Yes.
right? And I brought my grandson, he's 8, my granddaughter is 6. I brought both of them with me, okay? And they got a chance to see, like what you were saying, the police on horseback. They ran to the police officers on horseback, and then they had another, I guess, a SWAT truck or whatever there that the kids were able to get into. All right, so that was really good for them. So now when they see an officer or anyone in uniform, they don't run scared of them, you know. But the other thing I wanted to ask is, not only in person, but the kids, the young people nowadays spend a lot of time on social media, most of their time on social media, right? Especially TikTok, Facebook and TikTok. And all you see on there is the officers who are not, you know, who are, I guess, not treating people right. And they're watching that all day, every day. And so they already have this mindset, right? Because they're not out in the community. They don't go out to the events. Like, you know, I go to the events because my mama took me to the events, so now I'll take, you know, them. But for the ones who don't go out to the events in person to meet the officers, they're seeing it on TikTok, and they're only seeing the negative part. So I guess my question is there, do you guys have any officers or do you guys have a department within DPD to go on social media and show the good things that the police officers do on a regular basis? Because I never see it.
So we actually
That's good.
And they probably put out, I'm not gonna say a video a week, but Chief Garcia's been in some of them, and they're awesome. 'Cause
We need to see more
he's
of it.
dancing,
I
but
promise
not
you,
really
the-
dancing.
If you look up, police department,
They mostly do Twitter and not TikTok. That's what
Twitter.
she's saying.
They are trying to get on, you're right, and
TikTok.
they're trying to get on TikTok more.
Because I want my boys to see, I want them to see the good stuff.
Yes.
I want, when they look up police departments, I want them to see the good stuff. I don't want them to see all the bad stuff. And that's, when I tell you all day, every day. So now when they go out into the community, my grandson, he's 8, like I said, before Saturday, he would say, uh-oh, somebody's gonna get in trouble, there's a police officer. That's the first thing that comes to their mind. Somebody's going to jail, somebody's getting arrested, somebody's gonna get beat up, someone's gonna get a shot, or something like that. But when I took him out, then he was able, when he saw, like I said, when we at UNT Dallas, and they saw all the officers interacting with the people, it was much different. Now it changed his mindset,
And
but.
he got lost and had to go to the restroom and tell him what happened.
He did. He and his sister had to go to the restroom, and so I took my mother to go sit her down. Of course, they got lost trying to find their way back to me. But because of that event, he went to the officers and he asked them, "Are you security?" And she said yes. And then he said, "Okay, well, me and my sister went to the restroom and now we're lost."
I actually was standing there when that.
That was you?
They were just about to put it out on the mic.
And I came up there,
Whoa,
I said, "That's mine."
And then she said,
Yeah. And then he said, Gigi disappeared. I'm like, I disappeared. But he went to the officers, right? Instead of running from the officers, he went to the officers because of how you guys engaged with them when they were out there.
Everybody about it.
And told everybody. They went home and told us that. Right. And so I guess, but my thing is like, I would like for them to see more of it. Since they spend all their time on TikTok,
Yes.
I would like for them to see it on TikTok. Right?
Absolutely.
So that's why I was asking, do you guys do that? Tell them to post it more.
Okay. I will. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I've heard everybody talking about, I'm outside one NGO. We have a unit in South Dallas area, Jubilee. Jubilee has impacted their community so much. And I feel like that's part of what we need, like you're talking about the community, the kids. They have parks. They have the community coming in. They have a park that thousands of people come to every night. Play soccer, play football, music, and the community has changed drastically over the years.
Like
You know what South Dallas was? Fair Park, that area. It is clean. It is beautiful. But they have changed it. And I feel like I think it's probably like a pilot situation where they're going to try to implement it all over the city probably. But it is beautiful and it has changed so much. So I think that's something that we probably want to talk about. Council.
I'm gonna do 2 more questions. Yes, sir.
I was just going to follow with Sister, whose name is
Rita?
Miss Rita. So one of the best things, that I see about police that when she said highlighting is true, because when we go to this for a fireworks show every 4th of July, so in Woodtown, like this last past deal, it's probably the best fireworks show in the neighborhood in all Dallas. It's like the best kept secret. But what surprised me every year, it's about 6 years in a row I did. But the whole neighborhood is shut down. I ain't gonna say illegally, but I'm gonna say there's a lot of police officers out there, but they're not stopping people. They're just more monitoring, hanging out with people. So when you're saying that, like this past 4th of July, we was out there popping firecrackers and everything. I mean, not just me, it was like millions of people.
Snitch.
But realistically, it was a dope situation because you have police officers watching people and make sure everybody's straight, but they was engaged, you know what I'm saying? And it was just crazy. So when I put on my Facebook and Instagram, all the people like, the police out there with y'all, y'all in trouble? The police who got the cameras like, hey, what's up, So it's just one of those type of deals, like, with more engagement, I think you'll get so many more people involved just on small engagements and stuff somebody's dad.
Yeah, I would love to have seen that on TikTok, the water balloon fight. That would have been nice.
You would have.
It's on Twitter.
It was
Come on, man.
It is on Twitter.
Twitter.
That's us old guys. We're like,
We got one more question right there. Last question.
I listened to the officers and people saying what we need for children, what we need for children in order to keep them occupied. Back in a couple years ago, we had people from the police department who had a relationship with the children at school, because you're going to, if you reach out to children at school, that's who you're going to see, first of all. And if you have a relationship with them where they're not afraid of them and they see that they are just regular people and they're talking to them for the best, that's something that would happen, that would help the children. But I don't, from what I see, the City of Dallas Police Department does not have the people necessary to do that. I teach. And one of the things that they did, every month, an officer was assigned to the school. Well, it was a couple schools assigned to the school. And they would actually go in and have a relationship with the children that were in the class with them. There are a lot of old-time things that worked. People knocked on your door and say, "Hi, how you doing?" You knew who lived on your street or who lived in your house. Those are not things that we have now. So one of the things that would help us with our crime, with our children not having anything to do, because they don't have anything to do anymore, those kinds of things would definitely help the Dallas Police Department. But I don't know, how do you get something like that done?
Okay, we're gonna end on a good note. The MPO officer, right now, as Ms. Lewis said, they are controlled by downtown. They tell them what's going right there. And right now, on the process, trying to change that.
Yeah.
We want an MPO officer deployed at South Central. And so they know where to go. Because when we go downtown, I got to call downtown and say, I need the MPO over here, and I got to go through a whole lot of stuff. So therefore, what I want to try to do when I get with Chief Garcia, we got to make sure we start coming to these meetings and what to do and say, we need our neighborhood police officer control. We got to help South Central.
Yes.
How we help South Central with their office there, build a relationship up with South Central. Let South Central come to your house. I remember Major Little, I think you came up with Davis, one resident, went to their house. And we went to the house and they said, you know what? This is the first time the officer been to my house. He called, they showed up, we went inside, we started talking, and said, we know you do that. You didn't call us. And to do that, that's just kind of a family, engaged. Once you get to know that officer, he's a family, he's part of the family. Something going on, you got confidence, you were telling, hey, something going on over there in the neighborhood, I want to call my security guard. And to do that, we have lost that trust in our officer.
Yep.
And we lose that trust in your office, you lose that trust in your community.
Right.
You kill the community, just like you said, the kids.
Right.
When we go, great, the police office should be going into DIC. Even though they got their own police office, we should be working together. And therefore, we're trying to work together. We engage. It's not the kids say, you know what, my foot on the city problem, I'm back on DSD. You can't get me. By the time the police take them downtown, they back in school. So we got to engage and to do that. And right now, with this incident, let us pull a family together and say, here are some of the problems. We got a budget. Let us use some of these problems. We need to get more officers engaged in the community. We need to find out how we help the kids, get the kids off the street. I was talking to Chief Garcia. I came from Pop 1, he came from Pop 1. Why is our kid on the street begging for money? We should be able to go to some non-profit, a Ford, a Chrysler, Toyota, say, give them $50,000 and keep them off the street. We won't have an incident. But in North Dallas, it's there. So we got to build that relationship. To build it, let's build with our police officers. And the reason why I say that, all of your property tax, 25% of your sales tax pay for public safety.
Yep.
Over $1 billion. So about 6 to 8% go to public safety. If that go to why we're not using them, why you're not calling them more? If you don't call, they're not gonna come. Like this meeting here, we had the meeting, we should be full, last night, we had a meeting last night with the equity card, we were full with jam-packed because we want to get our equity. What is equity all about? How we get more police in our office? Call 911 more. Guess what? Call Chief Lewis more. Go down South Center, visit them. Make a friend, call a friend, call to my house. You ain't doing it, just say, Officer Tyler, come by my house. And they said, well, how Officer Tyler going by her house all the time? But they said, now you got a security going down, drive down the street. Sometimes, do you know the police officer will go down your street? You go out of town, hell, be out of town for 2 weeks, will you drive down the street? Yes, they would do it, but you don't tell them.
Well, you got some won't even look at you when they turn the corner, they look the other way.
We want to build that relationship. You got Major Lewis here. Those officers who do that, they got badge numbers. They got card number, they got license tag. So whatever, if you see the bad officers, report them.
Absolutely.
That's your job. You pay them. Your money pay the officer. So you don't pay somebody not doing their job?
Well, sometimes.
So I'm not, you don't pay somebody not doing your job. You don't pay somebody to cut your yard, they're not gonna cut your yard. You gonna pay them anyway. So you gonna pay a police to be your safety. But the point is, what I'm saying, we don't leave on a positive note.
Okay.
We're gonna work together.
Yes.
Your mayor, South Central. Go down to South Central, talk to them. Bring some donuts every once in a while, some coffee, anything. Get to know who they are. Call them, invite them to your house. You then go in the house, sit in the yard, just talk.
I don't have no problem with my NPO officer. I love my NPO officer.
See, I know she'll leave that. She love. What's your NPO officer's name? What's his name?
Dubas, I know who mine is.
Okay, we're gonna, it's 7:30, we're gonna get out of here.
Thank you.